Zhu Di, who had already cast his vote for second brother Zhu Shuang, was escorted out of the Yan King's residence by the imperial guards. He didn't forget to turn back and give a word of caution to his convenient princess and two sons. Qin King Zhu Shuang, clutching the wheel of his carriage, simply refused to leave the street. He felt that if someone truly wanted to assassinate the crown prince, then only he would be capable of such a thing. Had I known this earlier, I would have stayed in Xi'an. At worst, I'd take my wife and servants to the desert and join my brother-in-law. Voting concluded, and two individuals still had not voted. Therefore, a preliminary punitive execution. Marquis of Yan'an, Tang Shengzhong. Marquis of Jian, Lu Zhangkang. I didn't expect this heavenly screen to be serious, eliminating people just like that. The two marquises are to be buried according to the rites for a duke, and their sons shall inherit their titles. Old Zhu was also greatly astonished that these two old fellows were so resolute. Following the heavenly screen's judgment of punishment, the list of voters appeared on the heavenly screen, except for Lan Yu, who chose Jin King Zhu Gang. Everyone else voted for Qin King Zhu Shuang. It's a pity, however, that Zhu Shuang was currently being carried by several imperial guards towards the imperial palace, completely oblivious to others' opinions of him on the screen above. The answer to the second historical knowledge test question is now revealed. Is it coming? It's coming! The emperor killed one of his sons today, so he must be feeling displeased. Wouldn't that mean it's our turn for misfortune? Given the current situation, I doubt the crown prince is in the mood to plead for anyone. The crown prince went to Guangzhong to inspect Xi'an for the capital relocation, a fateful journey. But on his way back to Nanjing, he contracted a severe cold and unfortunately passed away. From then on, Emperor Zhou Yanzhang abandoned the decision to relocate the capital to Xi'an. Therefore, the answer is, the incident concerning Qin King Zhu Shuang's inspection and confinement was, it was a severe cold, not an assassination. It was a severe cold, not an assassination. It was a severe cold, not an assassination, nor was it Qin King's poisoning. That's good. It seems heaven also doesn't wish for us to move the capital to Chang'an. Then let's drop this matter. From now on, the crown prince should not leave the palace for inspections. Old Zhu also breathed a sigh of relief. He had only thought that Qin King had harmed his eldest son, but never expected this consequence to be his own doing. He would never admit that he was responsible for his eldest son's death, so he could only abandon the capital relocation plan. There are 164 participants in the second round of the lottery draw. The prizes are as follows. The first prize is a set of armor and swords made from fierce steel. Last time, wasn't it Emperor Qin Shi Huang's imperial seal? Why is it just a set of armor this time? The difference is truly too vast. Your Majesty, do not panic. Last time, among the 6 options, there were also useless items. The second option, a cracked corner of the golden fragrance jade imperial seal. Good, good, good. Old Lai is still right. This is the true imperial seal. Emperor Qin Shi Huang had many imperial seals, but only this golden fragrance jade bears those 8 characters. Old Zhu nodded inwardly, while simultaneously harboring a stronger intent to kill Old Lai. Originally, he thought if the crown prince succeeded to the throne, Old Li would be old enough not to live for many more years. He wouldn't pose any threat to the second-generation emperor. But if his grandson Yunwen, who is only 2 or 3 years old today, were to succeed, then Old Lai certainly couldn't be kept alive. It would be best to nip the evil in the bud. Old Li is not like Old Su. For Old Shu, an offered roasted goose was enough. His descendants, however, could still be kept for Yunwen's use. Historical knowledge test, question 3. The 4th emperor of the Ming Dynasty, Ming Renzong, once served as crown prince for over 20 years. Please answer. How should he address Zhu Di, the 4th son of Ming Taizu Zhu Yuanzhang? Why? Is this even a question? The 4th emperor of the Ming Dynasty, Ming Renzong, who was crown prince for over 20 years. Isn't that the main ruler's son, little fatty Zhu Gaoqi? Just now when I left the Yan King's residence, he was still tearfully seeing me off. Thinking of this, Zhu Di, as the fake Yan King, felt that his backside was definitely going to blossom this time. The first 2 questions, he still found quite amusing, as they had nothing to do with him. But this time there was no escaping it. A. Imperial uncle. B. Imperial grand uncle. C. Regent. D. Generalissimo, who conquered the north. As the four options appeared, everyone in the hall was stunned. What kind of question is this? Historical knowledge test. Question 3. The fourth emperor of the Ming Dynasty, Ming Renzong, once served as crown prince for over 20 years. How should he address Zhu Di? Does this even need to be asked? That little fatty Zhu Gaoqi is my son. What else would he call me besides father? But please, heavenly screen, don't say that little fatty's name, otherwise I'm done for. A. Imperial uncle. B. Imperial grand uncle. C. Regent. D. Generalissimo, who conquered the north. These options have stumped us all. This humble servant believes this question, like the previous two, is not about the relationship between His Highness Yan King and Renzong, but rather to inform us of the succession of the imperial throne for the next 3 generations. Duke of Han being widely experienced. Why don't you tell us? What exactly are the intricacies involved here? Firstly, the title Generalissimo, who conquered the north, is absolutely impossible. The question already stated that our great Ming's fourth emperor was also crown prince for 20 years, which indicates that the third emperor reigned for a long time, and, like your majesty, established a crown prince. Most importantly, this fourth emperor succeeded to the throne normally. According to what the heavenly screen revealed, the second emperor is His Highness the imperial grandson. Then he should address Yan King as imperial uncle. This is certainly not a problem. Thus, the third emperor should address our fourth brother as imperial grand uncle, and the fourth emperor should address him as great grand uncle. But this option is not available. This means that the third emperor and Yunwen are either brothers or uncle and nephew. Could it be that my descendants are... No, that's unlikely. Our great Ming imperial family only has your majesty's lineage. If His Highness Yunwen has no descendants, then the imperial throne should be inherited by your crown prince's other sons or grandsons, as the third emperor. Even if His Highness the crown prince were to meet an unfortunate end, then the most qualified to inherit the throne would still be Qin King, Jin King, and Yan King, the 3 kings, in that order. Li Shanchang's words reached Zhu Di's ears, and he felt that even he, who knew the most about what would happen in the future, was being confused by him, let alone Zhu Yuanzhang and Zhu Biao. So Mr. Li, are you suggesting that the third emperor's throne would be ceded by the Yan King to Biao's descendants? Impossible. Impossible? Your Majesty the Empress, you worry too much. If he were His Highness Yunwen's son, or an adopted son, and became the third emperor, then the fourth emperor should address Yan King as great-grand uncle, but that option is not available. Therefore, the third emperor can only be His Highness Yunwen's brother. So the imperial uncle option is definitely incorrect. The remaining 2 options are imperial grand uncle and regent, which is absolutely impossible, because it was already stated that the fourth emperor served as crown prince for over 20 years, indicating that the third emperor was elderly and held significant power. So how could there be another Duke of Zhou? Watching Duke of Han, Li Shanchang, spitting as he lectured in the grand hall, Zhu Di felt as if he was possessed by Conan, explaining everything logically and clearly, so much so that even he himself almost believed it. We know Old Lie's insights are profound, and this logic is probably correct. It's just that